We are at the Capitol with Representative Danny Morgan. Danny, thank you for stopping in.
Always a pleasure to be with you guys.
I'll tell you what, there was a lot of people at the Capitol yesterday. It was called a Tea Party, reminiscent of the Boston Tea Party, of course. Talk a little bit about what was going on.
Well, best I could tell was that they've decided that we pay too much taxes in the country, and there are probably some areas we still need to do some tax work and maybe revisit our entire tax structure. My biggest concern about being a part of that was I was afraid someone would say they're being taxed without representation. And being a representative, that would have kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. So I was a little concerned that maybe that they were shooting at some of us and saying that there's, taxation without representation, which originally was the Boston Tea Party's whole premise about what they did was we don't have a say. We don't have a say in our government. We don't have the ability to direct what all's going on. And so I know they were trying to pattern that after the old historic Boston Tea Party, but I think the situations were extremely different. But out of that Boston Tea Party came our form of government, which is great.
Yeah. So Tea Party, it's nice to see people be able to congregate and to be able to get their voices heard up where the legislators are. And there's just different issues. There's always two sides to a coin. And you aptly point out we were really trying to make a statement to a dictator, not a representative type government.
Exactly. And so I appreciate the fact that maybe people will go back now and reanalyze what happened in that Boston harbor and why it was so successful and exactly why everyone was so mad. But again, out of the Boston Tea Party came the form of government that says you have the right to protest against your government. And I was just so glad to see people participating in their ability to exercise their voice to say, we're not sure we're happy about what's going on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of impact to be heard when so many step up to the Capitol, and there's always issues like that. What are you passionate about? Contact your legislator. There's another bill that has come over from the Senate side to the House side that now the House is considering, the Senate bill, or SB 834. Talk a little bit about where that bill is and what that bill is in the process.
Senate Bill 834 is titled Deregulation of Our Schools. And what it's trying to do would allow a lot of the mandates that the legislature's passed over the last 10 to 12 to 14 years to roll back a lot of those. There's a lot of us, though, that are very concerned about what we're doing. I think we ought to take a scalpel to those mandates and address each one of them individually. This bill is almost like a meat cleaver approach. It just destroys a lot of the protections not only that our classroom teachers have been able to have, but things like class sizes, to make sure that we don't put too many kids in a class, that the resources are available for those special ed students who desperately need the educational opportunities that everyone have. And so it came to the floor of the House yesterday. It was passed by a very, very small margin. I think maybe 53 of the 101 members voted for it. It was a lengthy debate. In fact, we extended debate double the normal time that we debate the issue in the chambers. Very articulate discussions on both sides of the issue. I was one of those who was of the minority that voted against the bill, even though it did pass. But I still have major, major concerns that we don't open the door too widely, and then each school district establishes a different set of standards. And so each school district, if your child moves from district to district, there may be different standards that are established at each of the school districts, instead of saying there will be a standard that everyone meets across the state of Oklahoma. So it wouldn't matter where your child was in school, that the curriculum was the same, the standards were the same, and when some of these removals of these mandates, I'm very concerned about.
So that is SB 834. You can go online to oksenate.gov to look at that piece of legislation. Now let's talk about the process. It has passed on the floor of the Senate. It is now passed on the floor of the House of Representatives. It goes before the governor. So people who are for this bill or people who are against this bill, do they still have a voice in the process?
They do. In fact, it will actually return back to the Senate, because in the House side we did change a few things. We amended the bill and changed the language. The way the system works is it will now go back to the Senate for them to either accept the changes that we've made or reject the changes that we've made. If the Senate, by a vote, accept the changes that were made to it, then it would move down to the governor's office for action of either a signature or a veto. If they reject the changes that the House made and the changes that we wrote into the bill, then it'll go into what's called a conference committee, where members of the House and Senate appointed by the leaders of both of those bodies will assemble those individuals in a conference committee, and they will try to work out the differences. If they can, then they will bring a new 834 to us with the changes made that both sides would want to have, and there'll be another vote on it.
So Senate Bill 834 still very much alive. I need to contact my senator where it lays now and let them know what I think about the bill and how it reads.
It is so important for the constituents and the voters of the state of Oklahoma to make sure they know who their legislator is, their Senate member and their House member, to know their email address and their office phone numbers to communicate their desires of what they want us to be doing. I remind my constituents every time I speak to them that they pay my salary, and I am an employee of theirs, and I need to know what the boss wants me to do.
We are the boss. I like that, Representative Morgan. It's so opposite of sometimes how we feel when we step up to such an ornate place like our state capitol, but truly it is. It's not a place to be intimidated by. It's a place to participate in. Senator Danny Morgan, or Representative Danny Morgan, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for coming by.
You're quite welcome.